Dog won't let anyone near baby. Parents scream when they discover why. Amanda sat on the couch, the soft weight of her newborn resting against her chest. The house was quiet except for the steady hum of the baby monitor and the occasional creak of floorboards. Buddy, their golden retriever, lay curled up by the fireplace, his head on his paws, eyes closed but ears alert. For 2 days, everything felt peaceful, new but peaceful. It wasn't until the 3rd day that Amanda noticed something strange. Buddy stopped resting. He paced outside the nursery door, tail stiff, ears perked. At first, Amanda thought he needed to go out, but when she opened the back door, he didn't budge. His eyes stayed fixed on Mia's room, body tense. That night, when Amanda walked into the nursery to change Mia, Buddy followed close behind. When she leaned over the crib, his growl stopped her cold. It was low and quick, barely audible, but enough to freeze her hands mid-air. She turned, surprised. Buddy stood there, unmoving, blocking the doorway. Amanda laughed nervously and told him to go lie down. He didn't move. He just stared. His tail didn't wag. His eyes didn't blink. Something about it made her uneasy. Buddy wasn't an aggressive dog. He'd been her companion for 8 years, gentle, obedient, almost overly friendly. But this wasn't him. The next morning, Eric walked into the nursery to pick Mia up for her feeding. Buddy growled again, louder this time. Then he barked, sharp and sudden. Eric jumped back, startled. The baby began to cry. Amanda rushed in, but Buddy stood between them in the crib, his body rigid, teeth slightly bared. Eric reached for his collar, but Buddy snapped, not biting, but warning. Amanda pulled him back, heart pounding. Her hands shook as she carried Mia out of the room. She tried to calm herself. Maybe Buddy was just adjusting. Maybe it was hormones, confusion, jealousy. Later that day, Amanda tried to sit in the rocking chair with Mia. Buddy sat inches away, staring, panting, pacing back and forth like he couldn't relax. When she adjusted Mia's blanket, he whined. When she stood up, he barked again, short, sharp, protective. It wasn't like before when he'd simply lay by her feet or lick her toes gently. This was different, tense, strange. Amanda felt her chest tighten. Every time she looked at Buddy now, she didn't see her sweet dog. She saw something she didn't understand. And for the first time since Mia had come home, Amanda felt afraid. Not of the dog, but of whatever it was he seemed to know before they did. Amanda woke up to the sound of scratching. At first, she thought it was coming from outside, maybe a branch or the wind. But when she opened the nursery door, Buddy was there, paws scraping the floor, nose pressed to the bottom corner of the door frame. He turned quickly when he saw her. Tail still, body low, she stepped over him gently, whispering that everything was okay. But when she leaned over Mia's crib, Buddy growled again, not loud, but clear. Amanda froze. Her fingers hovered above the baby's blanket, unsure if she should keep reaching. The growl stopped her in place. Later that day, Buddy refused his food. He sat near Mia's crib for hours, panting softly, ears twitching at every sound. Amanda tried coaxing him with treats, but he wouldn't budge. She stood in the hallway, watching him, unease settling deeper in her chest. Nothing about his behavior felt normal anymore. Eric noticed it too. That night, while they sat in the living room, Buddy barked from upstairs. Not playful, not territorial, just constant, sharp bursts. Eric looked at Amanda and said something had to change. Maybe it was jealousy. Maybe the dog just couldn't handle the baby. Amanda didn't answer. They started closing Buddy out of the nursery, but it didn't help. He would scratch at the door, whine, throw himself against the frame. His nose became raw from rubbing. When Amanda opened the door to check, he would bolt past her and stand guard at the crib, tense and alert. Amanda searched online, articles about aggressive dogs after childbirth, stories of rehoming. One forum post described a similar situation and ended with a line that made Amanda's stomach drop. Some dogs just can't be trusted around newborns. She closed the laptop. The next day, while Eric was changing Mia, Buddy tried to push through the door. Amanda blocked him with her leg, but he growled and nipped the air. Eric turned startled as Amanda pulled Buddy back by the collar. The look in his eyes wasn't rage, it was panic. They locked him in the laundry room. He howled, scratched. His claws banged against the metal dryer. Amanda sat on the couch, holding Mia, feeling her daughter's tiny heartbeat against her chest. It was fast. Too fast. She brushed it off as her own nerves, but something felt off. Mia wasn't eating as much. She felt hotter than usual. Her cheeks were pale. Amanda couldn't tell if she was being paranoid or if something was really wrong. And behind the door, Buddy kept barking as if he knew the answer before anyone else. Amanda stood over the kitchen sink, staring at the bottle warmer like it might tell her what to do. Mia hadn't eaten more than a few ounces all morning. She was sleeping too long, her cries weak and distant when they came at all. Amanda pressed the back of her hand to Mia's forehead. Warm, warmer than yesterday. Buddy barked again from the laundry room, the sound sharp and constant. Eric was pacing the living room, phone in hand. He muttered something about rehoming or sedation. Amanda didn't respond. Her heart felt like it was floating, unanchored, weightless in the worst way. That evening, Eric reached for Mia while Amanda tried to change her onesie. She barely moved. Her skin had turned a strange shade of grayish pink, and her body felt limp. Amanda's breath caught. She looked at Eric, eyes wide. He asked if they should call the pediatrician again. She just nodded. Buddy slammed into the laundry room door so hard it shook the frame. Amanda flinched. Eric shouted at the dog, but it only made Buddy more frantic. The barking didn't stop. It got louder, more desperate. The kind of barking that didn't sound angry anymore. It sounded terrified. Amanda picked up Mia and felt how warm she had become. Too warm. Her head lolled slightly on Amanda's arm. Panic bloomed in her chest. She called Mia's name. Once. Twice. The baby didn't stir. That's when Amanda screamed for Eric to call 911. Buddy was still howling, throwing his body against the door with so much force that Amanda thought he might actually break through. She ran to the door and pulled it open. Buddy shot out, bypassed Amanda entirely, and charged into the nursery. Then he ran straight back to her, barking, then back to the crib. Eric was already on the phone, pacing, repeating their address. Amanda clutched Mia in her arms, whispering her name, begging her to wake up. Her skin was burning. Her eyes barely opened. Amanda pressed her lips to her daughter's forehead. The heat scared her more than anything else ever had. The ambulance arrived in under 6 minutes. It felt like 60. The paramedics took Mia from Amanda's arms. One of them asked how long she'd been like this. Amanda didn't know. She just said she hadn't been sure until now. Buddy followed them all the way to the front door. He stood on the porch as the ambulance pulled away, his ears pinned back, chest rising fast. Amanda turned and saw him staring down the road. Not barking anymore, just waiting. The hospital lights were too bright. Amanda sat in a stiff chair, hands clenched in her lap, heart racing in rhythms that didn't match the clock on the wall. Eric stood beside her, but neither of them spoke. A nurse passed by with a clipboard, glanced their way, and disappeared through a door labeled Pediatrics. Amanda couldn't feel her legs. Mia had been taken the moment they arrived. A team of doctors surrounded her, calling out numbers, moving with urgency but control. Amanda wasn't allowed to follow. She could still see the image of her baby being wheeled away. Small, pale wires already being attached to her arms and chest. A doctor came out 30 minutes later. His face was serious but not hopeless. He explained what they were seeing. Mia had sepsis, a bacterial infection that had spread into her bloodstream. It was advanced but not beyond saving. They had caught it in time. Amanda barely heard anything after that. Her body sagged into the chair. Eric reached for her hand. Neither of them cried. Not yet. The shock hadn't worn off enough for tears. The word sepsis echoed in her ears. How had they missed it? They thought it was teething, a mild fever, normal baby stuff. But it had been much worse. The doctor said the infection had likely been building quietly for days, that babies Mia's age sometimes don't show classic symptoms. A slight fever, subtle color changes, fatigue, easy to miss unless you knew what to look for or unless something else picked up on it first. Amanda sat up straighter. She asked the doctor if anything else could have caused the early signs to show. The doctor shook his head. It wasn't visible until the fever spiked and the infection moved fast. Amanda stared down at her hands and thought of Buddy when she mentioned him, how he'd acted, how he'd growled, blocked the crib, refused to leave Mia's side. The doctor raised an eyebrow. He said he'd heard of dogs detecting seizures, even some cancers, but infection, that was rare. The nurse brought them back to the room an hour later. Mia was asleep, hooked to an IV, color slowly returning to her cheeks. Amanda stood over the crib, her eyes burning. She leaned in and whispered, "I'm sorry," again and again. When they got home later that night, Buddy met them at the door. He didn't jump, didn't bark. He just wagged his tail once and sat at Amanda's feet, staring up at her. She dropped to her knees and wrapped her arms around his neck. This time, Buddy didn't growl. He just licked her cheek. Mia stayed in the hospital for 4 more days. Each day, her skin grew rosier, her cries stronger. Nurses said she was a fighter. Amanda stayed by her side through every hour, watching each tiny improvement like it was a miracle. Eric brought food, fresh clothes, and coffee that never stayed hot long enough to matter. The doctor returned on the 3rd day with a full report. The infection had started small, likely bacterial, but spread fast, aggressively. 1 more hour, he said. That's all it would have taken. 1 more hour, and things could have gone very differently. Amanda didn't ask what he meant by differently. She already knew. When Mia came home, the house felt warmer. Buddy waited at the front door, tail swaying slowly. Amanda set the car seat down on the floor and unbuckled Mia, letting her stretch. Buddy didn't move until Amanda nodded. Then he stepped forward and sniffed her gently, head tilted. Mia gurgled softly. He licked her foot. That night, Amanda sat in the nursery, rocking Mia to sleep. Buddy lay at her feet, calm and still. The house was quiet, but her thoughts weren't. She kept thinking about everything they had misread. The warnings, the symptoms, the dog who never gave up even when they thought he was the problem. Eric came in and sat beside her on the rug. He said one sentence that stuck. We didn't trust him. Amanda didn't argue. She knew he was right. They had ignored him, pushed him away, locked him out, when all along he was trying to save them from the very thing they couldn't see. Amanda told the story to her parenting group the next week. At first, it sounded like a scary anecdote about a jealous dog, but as she got to the part about the hospital, the barking, the fever, no one moved. One woman cried. Another said she'd given her dog away 2 months after her son was born. Amanda didn't judge her, but she told her to listen better next time. She wrote it all down in a long post one evening while Mia slept and Buddy snored by the window. The post spread fast. People shared stories of pets warning them, protecting children, sensing things no one else did. Some said they didn't believe it, but others said they had lived it too. Amanda didn't need credit. She just needed people to think twice because sometimes love doesn't come in gentle nudges. Sometimes it barks and growls and scratches the floor until you finally hear it. Sometimes it wears fur, and sometimes it saves a life before you even know it needs saving.